Welcome to We're Up Next. I'm Johnny Hill, and this is my fantastic co-host,
Andre Lacey. What's up?
Hey man, Dre, we're back at it like we never left, man. And we hope everybody is ready like Freddie, because this is gonna be an amazing episode of We're Up Next, man. It really is.
Yes, sir. Tell us who we chopping it up with today, twin.
Hey man, we got an amazing guest today. She came on Under the Hood Sports. Her name is Tatyana White, and she do Under the Hood Sports when she can. You know what I'm saying? We do Behind the Whistle. Me and Tatyana White. She came on the show one time telling the story of her sister, and she came on another time for doing Behind the Whistle. But this time, we're diving a little deeper into Tatyana, really like getting a bigger feel of why she chose journalism, why she did this, because she is really an amazing talent out here.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Tatiana, welcome to We're Up
You.
Next.
Yes, thank you for having me. I call them my NABJ besties. They are so uplifting and supportive in everything I do, so I appreciate y'all.
So Tatiana, talk with us about your experience with NABJ. What made you want to join such a phenomenal organization like NABJ?
Yes, so I'm like disappointed that I didn't join it sooner. I didn't join it till grad school. And it was like I think it was because at UF where I went to school, it was kind of like going in between leaders and stuff, like e-board members, executive board members and stuff. So it wasn't fully formed, I guess, yet. Like it had went through highs and then like nobody picked it back up. And then by the time somebody picked it back up, it was already kind of late for me in the game. So but I'm glad I still decided to join it. And I was kind of hesitant about going to the NABJ convention because I saw the price and like all that stuff, and I was like, I don't know, but I was like, I know I'll gain something out of it because I'm in grad school, I'm about to graduate soon, I need this so bad, I need to connect with people. And so I'm very glad that I did, and I connected really well with the girls that I went with that were in the UF chapter. So I'm very glad that I went, and I was drawn to it because I was like, going to the University of Florida, it's predominantly a white school, so I have never really been around like a significant amount of other Black journalists that can kind of share some of the same stories and things that I have or experiences that I may have being a Black person, especially a woman in this industry. So I was like, it would be a really amazing opportunity to be surrounded by a whole group of successful Black journalists that are seasoned, my age, and I do not regret it at all. And I want to go to like all of them if I can.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's definitely my plan too. So I get that. I'm right there. Right.
Yeah, and Tatiana, let's talk about this, right?
Mhm.
NABJ, it has truly been a blessing. I met got to connect with a lot of amazing young journalists, older journalists, just people who've been in the industry. But
Yeah.
if you can go back, what would you have done better preparing yourself for
Mhm.
NABJ?
I think what I would have did better is just trying to network more. I found myself at like I always stayed behind for like the seminars and the sessions to talk to people a little bit, but when it came to the actual more like relaxed times to network, like during the like I don't know what they're called, like the happy hour type of things we had and stuff, and like the little dinners and things that we had where it was more social. I found myself kind of just clinging to the people I came with or the people that I met and knew. And I really struggled with just like going up to people because I don't know, I guess just that fear and shyness of like, if I go up to this person and I'm like, hey, I'm Tatiana and I'm about to graduate with my master's from UF. Like, I didn't know how some people would take that or if they were going to be like, okay, and like, like I didn't know how they were going to act towards
Yeah.
me. So I wish I would have just been a little more assertive and just put myself out there and been more of like a social butterfly in that aspect. Even if I didn't stay in contact with all those people, just like making those connections and just, expanding a little more than staying in my comfort zone. So I should have, maybe, but I think I did the best I could. But now that I know what I'm up against and what happens at NABJ conventions, I think I'll be more prepared for next year.
Yes, and I believe so as well. Let's get into journalism, right? Let's talk about it. What made you want to be a journalist? So let's be honest, not a lot of people want to be a journalist. It's a lot of time people may even
Yeah.
say the money isn't good at all being a journalist, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
what made you want to be the person, go and tell the stories, want to talk to people? Because like being a journalist, man, is not easy. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
sometimes you start out in locations you don't want to start out because
Mhm.
we all don't start out at like ESPN or CNN or whatever. Sometimes we even gotta make our own platforms, like the platform we're on right now. But what made you want to be, a journalist and tell stories?
Yeah, it's so interesting you say like not like journalism isn't for everybody, it's not easy because I remember a lot of people I think have a misunderstanding of what journalism is. Me and my mom actually recently talked about it. She was like, "I'm just so proud of you," because she was like, "When you first told me you wanted to go to school for journalism, I was not happy." And I remember she was like, "What are you going to do with a journalism degree?"
Yeah.
Because she thought it was just like, writing for newspapers or like for like the magazines, but she didn't realize how much bigger journalism, mass communication, like every business everywhere needs some type of journalist, marketing, publicist, all of that. So I feel like we're definitely like the one of the foundations of a lot of jobs and stuff. So I think it's such an important career. And I've always loved just like the idea of storytelling. I feel like I've always been very imaginative. I've always loved like creative writing, and like writing has always been my passion. So I think that's what really led me to that road of journalism. And then once I got exposed to the film side of it and like the being in front of the camera side of it, it made me love it even more. And then learning how to edit, it just made me feel so proud because you see the work that you just recorded and the interviewees and how they are connected to you now and they trust you, and just seeing how it all just comes together and you're able to advocate for people and organizations and stories that may not have gotten a platform otherwise if you hadn't of came. So and then I was a teen attorney at my local teen court for volunteer throughout high school, and I loved like being able to write those cases and being able to advocate for those students who had gotten in trouble. And I was like, I don't want to go into law. So, but I was like, journalism is a very close thing to being able to do stuff like that for people. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I will ask you this because this has been a question that I've gotten asked by many. So I want to definitely hear your opinion.
mhm.
Do you believe that journalism will be okay? Because right now there is a huge change within what many know as journalism. We're seeing industries, well, not industries, companies that own companies within the actual what's what I'm looking for like organization, excuse me, like TV, radio, social media, print, you name it. People are losing their jobs or like getting burnt out from it. So do you think that journalism has a chance really with what's going on right now?
Yeah. Yeah, I think journalism will always be around. I think it'll always be needed in some form. I think if anything, there's a shift happening. I think it's going to be less and less people as the years go on that are sitting down at 5 o'clock every day to turn on their TV to watch the news. I think it's going to definitely start to shift more into like that shorter form social media type of news. So because I think the younger generations and stuff are starting to get their news a lot more from social media. And the attention span of people are getting shorter and shorter. So I feel like there's going to just be those like clips that really highlight, give you like the 30-second highlight of whatever the story is. And I think that's really what it's shifting into now. But I do think one of my concerns is that influencing is starting to become a big thing. So there's people who and I think actually, at the NABJ, Stephen A. Smith at his session, he talked about this, how there's so many people who try to criticize him, but he's like, a lot of people don't realize that he actually went to school for journalism and like he actually knows like how to fact check and all those things. Versus there's some people that are in the industry who are influencers or on like bigger platforms who have not gotten a degree in journalism, and they're just kind of spitfiring, their opinions and their facts and all that different stuff. And so that's what I do worry about, is that there's going to be a lot of saturation of people who do not have like actual background in journalism that's needed. Not even necessarily a degree, but just some type of classes or certificate or something of knowing like how to write an AP style broadcast and like print AP style, knowing how to fact check correctly, knowing how to properly angle your interview subject, like just those little things that you have to learn, that will make your story better, that will make it accurate. And that's what I worry about, is like false news and things like that, because of how many people are influencing and kind of becoming like self-made journalists. So
Yeah. I really agree. I feel like journalists, there always gonna be a need for it and a want for it,
Mhm.
because I feel like everybody's a journalist now. Like,
Mhm.
and it's like, in a way, it's a good and a bad thing because our industry is expanding. But it's like, I feel like it's a tug between the newer and the older, like the traditional
Mhm.
journalists compared to the new age journalists who's mostly doing on social media instead of like being in the
Mhm.
paper or being on the news or anything like that. I feel like it's just a new generation, a new way of doing things. Okay, Tatyana, I had a question for you, right? Getting into the
Mhm.
business, like, you're gonna hear a lot of no's. I personally had so many that I can hardly count. Andre have had no's. You have had no's. What is your
Mhm.
encouragement? Like I said, the industry is really hard to break into, and we all work hard here. We all are very talented. But what is your advice, Tatyana, to that young boy, that young girl who's trying to be a journalist in this? What if they're in school right now? What is your advice
Mhm.
to them on how to be encouraged in moments like this, and also why they should keep doing this and not give up on their dream?
Yes, I know for sure. I think it was probably my first reporting class, and I was like, "Oh, I did not know that this is what I was signing up for. This is not what I thought journalism was," because I was so used to being able to kind of write in my own way. So having to like relearn how to write, almost, of like, oh, you have to start with the lead and then the most important fact and all the way down to like the least important, and having to be concise because I'm very long-winded in my writing and my speaking. And so that was just it took me aback, and then just seeing the amount of work, like it was back to back things due, back to back stories, deadlines, then having to go out in the field, film, writing your scripts, getting on the anchor desk, like just it was so many different moving pieces that I was like, I don't know if I can see this through. But what got me through it was just realizing the vision and realizing, like, I think one of the happiest things that always, I guess, brought me joy is whenever I would send the person who I did the interview with or the story, if I sent it to them and they were like, "Oh my gosh, like you really highlighted this wonderfully. Thank you so much for your time." And it feels good. It feels worth it, because it's like that's what journalism is. It's a people's job. Like it's to help people. It's to advocate. And so just seeing that there's people out there who are so grateful that you took the time to talk to them, to share their story. So that's what really kept me going. And then I think just like that proud feeling of, after all of that hard work, the actual drenching in sweat,
Yeah,
tears and all, everything just going crazy, just seeing it all edited together and seeing it published and seeing your name by it, like that's just such an amazing feeling. So I think the hardest part is just the learning, having to get the feedback, because in this world, when you're in school, outside of school, Like, the feedback is going to be harsh, but a lot of the time it's to help you grow, because if the people internally are not being hard on you, it's going to be worse when there's people in the audience that are like, oh, why is this whole paragraph like having sentence fragments and all this mess, and it's just looking a hot mess, and there's black flash screens in the middle of your video content and all this different stuff, that had you not gotten that critique that you needed, to really make you hone in on those things, when you were in school or inside the station and in the industry, then you could make those mistakes. So I would definitely say just stay encouraged and just know that you're not alone, because it always feels like that, but there's so many other people out there who are in the industry, who are still in school, who also have some of those same struggles. You're going to make mistakes. Some of the most seasoned journalists make mistakes. Like, I've watched like some of the biggest stations around, and I've seen them having like technical difficulties and all types of different stuff. So just give yourself a lot of grace and see it through, because it's going to be so worth it when you see that you have made an impact with your stories. And then also just finding your passion and your path to, because not every part of journalism is meant for everybody. Like, some people are really good with that broadcast side of like anchoring, reporting, but there's some people who are really good with like doing the social media stuff, who are good at writing the web stories and or photojournalism. So really also just making sure you take the time to hone in and find a mentor that can help you find like that one piece of journalism that is really for you. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Let me ask you this as we get ready to close out. If you could give one word of encouragement that would help someone who's trying to figure out if journalism is their calling, if they enjoy storytelling, but don't really know where to start or what to do to get their foot in the door, what advice would you give someone?
Um, So I would say it's not really, I guess, one word, but more of a saying
Mhm.
that has been helping me get through my job process since graduating and trying to find a job in journalism is, what's meant for you will be for you. And I think that's like one thing, like one quote I would say for someone that is trying to figure it out, because ultimately if you take the time to really take the classes or do your research or just get involved in some of the organizations, journalism organizations in your school or in your community and stuff. And once you actually really dive into it, because I think hands-on experience is what really will help you realize if you want to do journalism. Like, I feel like you can hear about it and learn about it all day, but if you actually get some type of shadowing experience or just anything that you can, that can really help you determine, because not everybody can make it. There's some people, if they were to shadow us, they would be like, oh no, I would never do this. So I think it's just so important to really just like jump in, especially if you're in school while you can, like while you have those resources, because those cameras and stuff that we use for journalism are like expensive, and the equipment, all of that. So while you can and while it's like accessible to you, dive into that and just keep remembering what is meant for you will be for you. So if it's not working out, or if you're realizing like I'm really forcing it, like I'm really not enjoying it, and you're trying to just make it work, then that may not be the thing for you, because you should be happy with what you're doing. You should be passionate and excited to do what you're doing. So just let it be meant for you, and you will feel it when it's meant for you. Because if you're feeling like, I don't really feel like doing this today, then it's probably not your thing. So, and if you're religious, I'm always very big on praying. One of my biggest prayers that I say all the time is, God, please order my steps. So I always say, order my steps career wise, just life in general. But yes, if you're religious or spiritual, I definitely believe that like praying that prayer of God ordering your steps will be something that will be incredibly beneficial for you. It's been helping me order my steps in every way. So it will all work out, because it will be meant for you if it's meant to be.
For sure. And
Absolutely.
as we closing out on We're Up Next, me and Andre used to always do a thing on We're Up Next. always giving encouragement, right, twin. Always telling people why this person is up next. And me and Andre always believe in giving people their flowers. Because in
Mhm.
all honesty, you never know how long somebody's gonna be on this earth. So tell them right
Mhm.
now how important they are. And I'm gonna start then, twin. If you want to get in and give her some more flowers, you can. Then we're gonna get up out of here. But Tatyana, I really do respect the work ethic that you bring, the determination you have. You're a really good friend to have, especially in this industry. Not a lot of people are like you. And I appreciate you for also like, even though you're not all into sports, you're trying your best and you're doing your thing. And I really do appreciate you for coming on my podcast, even coming on this one, showing love. And for that, I'm telling you, you're gonna be just fine. You're talented, and that's why I say, Tatyana White, you're up.
Thank you.
I am in agreement with him. You are definitely up next. Just from the first time meeting you all the way to now, you are so humble. You carry yourself so well, and I can tell that you want this and you work hard for it. You don't back down when an opportunity may not work out. You're always trying to encourage others. You have a bright future ahead. You just wait and see.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Oh
so
my God.
you're so
Well,
Thank you. That is so fine. Oh my gosh. Well, I want to give you guys your flowers too. I just want to thank you both for being so kind. I feel like, I've always had some up and down friendships. I think especially in adulthood, I feel like finding real good friends is like kind of few far between. So I'm just so grateful that you guys kind of took me under your wing because I know you guys have gone to a couple of NABJs and I was just kind of new. So I didn't know if people were going to be like grouped up and kind of like, oh, this is like my friend group or whatever. But you guys definitely like allowed me to be a part and just made me feel very welcomed and very special. And so I do appreciate just the kindness and genuineness and whenever I'm feeling down, just you guys reaching out and wanting to just talk it out with me and encouraging me and reminding me that it's gonna all be okay. So I do really, really appreciate you guys. And I think you guys are gonna do amazing. I am just always inspired by the work ethic that you guys always put in, especially like the fact that you guys are not afraid to leap and go to like Detroit and all these different places. Like, I'm still over here like ready to move, but still scared. But you guys like went ahead, made your leaps, and just did it. And so I'm just so proud of you guys. And I know you guys are gonna make it big, and you guys are gonna be up there, and you know, at the end of BJ one day, people are gonna stop waiting to take a picture with y'all. So
yeah,
I
of
appreciate that.
course. Yes, we appreciate it so much.
For
All
sure.
right. Well, let's wrap it on up. I'm Andre Lacey.
I'm Johnny Hill.
We are
Out of here.